Part 1. The Call That Changed Everything. Theme: Desperation Meets Opportunity. The rain had a way of softening Evanport's edges, blurring brick buildings into watercolor, washing the sidewalks in silver sheen, and muting the world just enough to make silence feel like company. Lucas Gray, 25, moved through the drizzle like a ghost with a purpose. His shoes were soaked. His coat clung to his back, but it wasn't the cold that chilled him. It was the weight of reality pressing down on his chest. Tuition overdue, rent behind, medical bills for his mother, stacking up like unspoken apologies on the kitchen counter. The city didn't care that he was trying. He passed the flickering sign of a closed bookstore and tucked his chin deeper into the collar of his coat. Somewhere in the distance, the ferry's horn bellowed against the mist. Evanport was beautiful in a lonely sort of way, like it had secrets, and expected you to keep yours too. Lucas's phone buzzed. He almost didn't check it. Unknown number. But desperation has a way of making even spam sound like hope. Lucas Gray speaking, he answered, voice low, cautious. A pause. Then a voice measured, composed, unmistakably in control. Miss Gray, this is Celeste Vance. I'd like to meet with you. It concerns your financial situation. Lucas's step faltered. I'm sorry, who are you? How do you? I know enough. She cut in, not unkindly. Just. Efficient. Please meet me at Vance House Cafe, 8 o'clock. It's important. And just like that, the call ended. No explanation. No room for questions. Lucas stood there for a beat, phone still in hand, rain dancing on the brim of his hood. His mind raced. How does she know about me? What kind of help is she offering? And then, the more honest question, what am I willing to do to save the people I love? Theme: a choice between pride and survival. The Vance House Cafe didn't glow, it exhaled warmth, hidden beneath ivy-wrapped brick. It was the kind of place that whispered, not shouted. Its golden sconces lit the rain-flecked windows like a painting. Lucas entered with caution, half expecting to be turned away. But she was already there. Celeste Vance sat in the far corner, framed by wood-paneled walls and an untouched pot of tea. She was striking in the way time sculpts something rare. Silver hair perfectly swept back, sharp cheekbones softened by age, dressed in a tailored charcoal coat that suggested both elegance and armor. Lucas, she said, without standing. Thank you for coming. He slid into the seat opposite her, uncertain if he was meant to feel honored or cornered. You said you wanted to talk about my financial situation. Celeste lifted her teacup delicately. I did, and I will. But first, I need to ask, how far are you willing to go to protect your family? The question settled between them like fog. Lucas hesitated. I'd do anything for them, but I don't understand why you're involved. I've done my research. Your mother's treatments, your sister's suspended tuition, your part-time income barely covers food. You have talent, drive, and most importantly, urgency. Lucas leaned back, wary. What are you offering? She set her cup down. No theatrics. No build-up. Marry me. He blinked, laughed, once soft and incredulous. I'm sorry. What? You heard me. Her voice didn't waver. This isn't about romance, Lucas. It's a transaction, a contract. I offer you financial freedom. In return, you become my husband by law, not by love. Lucas stared at her, the room tilting slightly. You don't even know me. That's precisely why it works. You're young, unattached, desperate enough to consider this, and I need a name to anchor my estate. Someone who can help finalize my legacy without entanglement. A husband. In the title. That's all. He rose suddenly. The chair scraped against the wood floor, too loudly. This is insane, is it? She replied coolly. Or is it just rare honesty? That night, the rain hadn't let up. Lucas sat at the wobbly kitchen table, across from his mother. The glow from the lamp was dim, casting tired shadows beneath her eyes. He told her everything. She didn't gasp, didn't object. I know it's unthinkable, she whispered, but maybe it's not about love right now. Maybe it's about survival. You're asking me to sell myself. I'm asking you to save yourself, she said, her voice trembling. To save us. The next morning, Lucas returned to the cafe. She was already there. Her fingers danced across a tablet, as though she'd never doubted he'd come. You've decided? She asked. Lucas took a breath that felt too small for his chest. I'll do it. She looked up, and for a moment, just a flicker, there was something softer in her gaze. Good, she said. The arrangements will be made immediately. Theme, isolation in luxury. 7 days later, Lucas Gray stood in a fitted navy suit, one he didn't own, but Celeste did beneath the hollow echo of a county courthouse ceiling. The vows were short, sterile, witnessed only by Celeste's estate lawyer and a notary who barely looked up from the paperwork. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Lucas didn't feel anything click into place. There was no kiss, only a nod. And Celeste's voice, gentle but chilling. Welcome to your new life, Mr. Gray. Her estate sat on the northern cliffs of Evanport, where the ocean met stone with a thunderous hush. Vance Manor loomed like something from another century, an architectural masterpiece of marble columns and frost-bitten elegance. Every brick whispered wealth, and yet, every window looked like it hadn't been opened in years. As the cab rolled down the gravel path, Lucas stared at the mansion. It was beautiful. It was haunting. He stepped out, suitcase in hand, and for a fleeting moment, it didn't feel like he was arriving. It felt like he was being absorbed. Celeste greeted him at the door, her posture immaculate. Welcome home, Mr. Gray, she said again, formality clinging to every syllable. A housekeeper led Lucas to his new room, ornate, cold, too perfect. Gold-framed mirrors, mahogany dresser, a bed that could swallow him whole. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out onto a manicured garden where nothing dared grow wild. Despite the grandeur, it felt unlived, untouched, unloved. That evening, Lucas sat stiffly at a long dining table, so polished it mirrored the crystal above. Celeste sat at the opposite end, dressed in a flowing silk blouse and an antique pearl necklace that seemed older than the state itself. The food was exquisite, served silently. No staff spoke a word. Celeste's knife moved with mechanical precision. I trust you're settling in, she said. Lucas glanced around. It's different. The house is beautiful, but it feels like I'll get lost in it. Celeste smirked, slicing into her fillet. You'll get used to it, or you won't. Either way, you're here. Lucas looked up sharply. You didn't mention your late husband. Celeste paused, a slight twitch in her wrist. He was a businessman, much like your father. Their paths crossed. The air shifted. He caught it, just a hint of venom under the velvet. Not all encounters end well, she finished. He watched her take a sip of wine. You'll understand why I chose you. And then she smiled, but her eyes never warmed. Theme, secrets behind the facade. Days passed like ghosts through the corridors of Vance Manor. Lucas found himself wandering more and more. The house had a strange rhythm, one that pulsed with silence. He noticed things, doors that didn't open, rooms dusted but not lived in, staff that avoided eye contact. Conversations stopped when he entered. Even the walls seemed to hush when he passed. One night, as he paced the upstairs library, he noticed Celeste's desk was slightly ajar. Something shimmered beneath the brass lamp. A key. Small, ornate, cold. He hesitated, looked around. No one. The key sat there like it had been waiting. He took it. That night, Lucas lay in his opulent bed, staring at the ceiling. The key was in his hand, its weight heavier than it should have been. What was she hiding? And why had she really chosen him? Something didn't fit. Something never fit. At 2, 12 a.m. With the manor wrapped in velvet darkness, Lucas slipped from his room. The halls moaned under his footsteps. He passed portraits that watched too closely, and chandeliers that looked like frozen rain. He reached a door he'd seen locked before. The key slid in smoothly. Click. The door creaked open. The room smelled like time, like dust and memory. Inside, faded wallpaper, tarnished silver frames, a table lined with old photographs. Celeste, decades younger, beaming beside a man with kind eyes. Another photo, Lucas's father, shaking hands with that same man. There were papers, dozens. Lucas read them, breath tightening. Business documents, lawsuits, letters. One, scrawled in angry cursive, "You ruined everything. My family was left with nothing because of your lies." And then, at the bottom of the pile, a marriage license. His name, Celeste's name, dated 3 weeks before the wedding, before the proposal. She had planned it all. On the desk lay a leather-bound journal. Lucas flipped it open. He will be my pawn. I will take from his bloodline what his father stole from mine. His stomach turned. Behind him, a floorboard creaked. Enjoying yourself. Her voice cut the silence like glass. Lucas turned slowly. Celeste stood in the doorway. The shadows seemed to bend around her. I found the door open, he stammered. She stepped forward, the door closing behind her. Curiosity, she said softly, can be such a dangerous thing. Theme, betrayal, and awakening. What is this? Lucas asked. Why did you marry me? Celeste's eyes narrowed. Because your father took everything from me. My home, my name, my husband. But I'm not him. No, she said, voice like ice. You're worse. You're blind to it. Lucas shook his head. This isn't a marriage. It's a trap. A contract. She corrected. You signed it. Her gaze was steel. And you'll fulfill it. Lucas's voice cracked. You've lied. Manipulated. Used me. And your father. Did he not do the same? Silence fell. And then she whispered, you were never meant to love me. Only to repay a debt. Theme. Courage born from fear. That night, Lucas didn't sleep. The mansion felt colder now, like it had been watching all along. He messaged his law school friend, Jordan, under the guise of a class question. If someone signs a contract under false pretenses, can it be annulled? Jordan responded, possibly, if you have evidence. Are you in trouble? Lucas didn't reply. He began searching through Celeste's office while she was out papers, flash drives, ledgers, anything. He needed a way out. And then, tucked inside a file, another letter, addressed to his father. You left me with nothing. My husband died from the stress. His heart failed, but it was your betrayal that killed him. It wasn't just about money. It was grief. It was rage. It was revenge. Theme, pain behind power. The following evening, Lucas sat alone in the library, the letter still trembling in his hand. The room was lined with knowledge, philosophy, law, rare poetry, but none of it could explain the mind of a woman whose love had once been shattered into vengeance. He remembered the eyes of the man in the photographs. Celeste's late husband, Harold Vance. Now he had a name for the ghost that haunted this estate. The private investigator he'd hired quietly, discreetly, had just left. His report was clear. Harold Vance had been financially destroyed in a biotech investment fraud. At the center of that scheme, Lucas's father, a man Lucas had idolized and grieved, but never fully known. Harold's death came only months after the scandal. A heart attack, stress-induced, sudden. Celeste hadn't just lost her fortune. She'd lost the only man who had ever made her feel safe. And now, decades later, she had found the son of her husband's destroyer and married him, not out of love, but as a living repayment. That night, Lucas met Jordan in secret. Together, They organized everything: copies of the journal, the letters, the financial documents, and the marriage license, dated before consent. Jordan shook his head, scanning the files. This is enough, Lucas. To end it. To stop her. Lucas nodded. She's done enough damage. This ends now. Theme: justice versus vengeance. The next morning, Lucas sat in the grand sitting room. Sunlight filtered through the massive windows, cold and sterile. He heard her heels before he saw her. Celeste entered, elegant, unreadable. "We need to talk," he said. She raised a sculpted brow. "Is that so?" Lucas stood. "I know everything. About Harold. About my father. About your business dealings." Her expression shifted just a flicker. "You've been snooping again, haven't you? I know you forged documents in my name. That you used me to rebuild what you lost, even if it meant breaking me." Her voice sharpened. "You don't know what your father did to me." Lucas's voice rose. "But I know what you're doing now. This revenge. It won't bring Harold back. And it doesn't make you whole." Celeste stared at him. Her hands trembled once. Barely. "You remind me of him," she whispered. "Harold. The same fire. The same stubborn heart." For a moment, the silence stretched between them like a fragile thread. Then, police sirens. Celeste turned to the sound, face paling. Officers entered, led by Jordan. "Celeste Vance, you're under arrest for fraud, coercion, and financial manipulation." She didn't resist as she was escorted away. She looked back. "You may think you've won, Lucas, but revenge. It doesn't end with a courtroom. Theme: forgiveness and letting go." Weeks passed. Lucas testified at her trial, not out of malice, but clarity. His words were steady, honest. He didn't ask for her punishment, only that the truth be seen. Her sentence was reduced. She never fought it. One rainy afternoon, Lucas was summoned back to the estate. Celeste's lawyer handed him a folder and a letter in delicate cursive. "Lucas, it was never about the money. It was about closure, about giving Harold justice in a way I never could. But I lost myself somewhere in the fire. You reminded me of something I thought. I buried a person who still believes in good. I am leaving the estate to you. Use it to build something I couldn't. Something honest." Celeste. Theme: redemption and second chances. Lucas sold the mansion. He paid off his mother's treatments, cleared every debt. Then, with what remained, he created a scholarship fund in Harold Vance's name for students from broken homes and second chances. At the first ceremony, he stood before a small crowd. "This fund isn't about charity," he said. "It's about taking pain and turning it into purpose. It's about forgiveness, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." Afterward, Lucas walked alone through Evanport's harbor. The sky was clear. The sea is calm. A rare moment of peace. In his jacket pocket, Celeste's letter remained. A reminder that love doesn't always look like roses and vows. Sometimes it looks like a reckoning, like healing, like a man choosing peace. In a world that taught him pain,